Welcome to the Wartime MMA podcast. It's the big three, Mike, Tony, and Alex. And here we are giving our predictions for UFC Vancouver. UFC Vancouver is actually not a bad card. It would have been better if the original main event was the case, but unfortunately, shit happens. But it is what it is. We got, so far, good card, good everything, and it's very rare to get a good card in Canada, too. Y'all ready to start this, or do y'all got any last thoughts about the card before we get to rolling?
I'm ready to get in whenever.
Same.
All right, here we go. Kicking this off, we got some women's MMA. We got Melissa Croden taking on Tainara Lisboa. Alex, you could kick it off.
Yeah, two women fighting it, isn't it? It's unavoidable. It'll happen. We'll have to watch it. Two women with similar records, 7-3 and 6-2. Melissa Croden's just coming into the UFC, whereas Lisboa's been here for like a year or something. Lisboa's actually had 2 Muay Thai fights with Shevchenko. And she also has a fight against Norma Dumont on the regionals, and she got subbed by Dumont in that fight. Dumont is much bigger compared to Lisboa, even though they're in the same weight class. Lisboa is kind of like a skinnier framed female. She got good striking. I don't know a lot about Melissa Croden, but honestly, like if you're a similar age, similar frame, similar record women's MMA fighter, I think fighting Shevchenko goes a long way. So I'm going to just pick her based on that. This other girl, Croden, has a loss to Cavalcanti, which isn't a bad loss. She went the distance with her. But I think I'm going to just trust Lisboa just for the purpose of her being in there with Shevchenko and not being finished in a Muay Thai setting, that has to be noted, and also having more UFC experience. So I'm going to go Lisboa decision.
Yeah, not really much to say. I got Lisboa as well I got it by decision. I could see the Canadian bitch taking it, but I don't know. It's women's MMA, flip of a coin, pretty much. Not really else to say about it. But yeah, I got a decision in that 29-28 signature.
Tough fight. Both fighters seem to have similar records. From my understanding, Croden, this will be her UFC debut, I believe. Her losses aren't terrible from what I saw in Tapology. I assume that she's the more quote-unquote well-rounded fighter in this one. Lisboa has a Muay Thai background, as Alex alluded to, having the 2 fights with Shevchenko. She lost to Luana Santos, who I'm very high on, but Luana's got really good grappling, and she's a real problem at 135, so I'm not really going to hold that against her. It's a tough fight. It's in Canada. I tend to actually feel that Canadian women actually are pretty good in MMA, aside from the men, funny enough. But I think I'm going to go with Lisboa as well. I think I'm going to go with a decision. I think she's just going to be able to defend the takedowns, and her being a specialist in striking will outweigh Croden having more of a well-rounded approach, trying to attempt takedowns, trying to get in clinch exchanges, trying to go for submissions or things of that variety. I feel as though Lisboa will do enough to stay safe on the ground and hopefully not get taken down and be able to display her striking. So I'll go with a Lisboa decision win. I could see a TKO, though, because I do think on the feet, based on credentials, I think there can be a gap. But for the sake of the pick, I'll go with the decision for Lisboa.
Moving on to our next fight of the card, Azamat Bekaev versus Yusri Belgrui. Pretty good fight, to be honest. Every time, I watch Yusri Belgrui fight, I kind of, want him to be something that he isn't. I kind of want him to be like this Adesanya or Pereira type of guy, which is unrealistic. I know, but I expect at least a Cesar Almeida, right? Like some finishes. I get you're gonna pitter pat a little bit, but show me that you know what you're doing on the feet. But in his couple of contender series fights, he kind of lost on the feet to Marco Tulio, which isn't a bad look. Marco Tulio's very good. And he also out-grappled Belgrui in that fight. But he fought I want to say it was either South Korean or a Japanese guy, and they were not very good. and he like really took his time and like to finish him in the third, and he like had to eye poke him like 3 times in the fight as well. It was just like a really bad look for Belgaroi. Like, not only like are you eye poking this dude like multiple times, like he isn't even that good. You're having a hard time like finishing a bum, and you know Bekayev isn't a bum. He's got decent hands. He's got good wrestling. He isn't much of a submission guy. He is much more of a ground and pound guy on the ground. So I do think like Belgaroi will have a chance to like knock it out jiu-jitsu'd, but I kind of feel like he's a bit of a skeleton. He's very big for middleweight. Definitely has a huge weight cut to make it, and I just think it's not the best look for him as of what I've seen lately. He definitely has a big weight cut. He doesn't seem to like go out there and be aggressive. He doesn't go for the finish. Just kind of on the back foot. He doesn't really show any initiative, whereas I feel like Bekayev does. You know, Bekayev's dangerous on top. More dangerous than a lot of people with their ground and pound. Just from what we have to go off of in his recent fights, I think he's finished both of his last fights with ground and pound, or at least his last one. But I'm going to have to go Bekayev. I think against Belgaroi, he should have a decent time just getting it to the ground. He might get a TKO, but I'm going to say... Yeah, I'll say TKO. I'm going to say ground and pound TKO late second round.
Good fight here in the middleweight division between, I'm probably going to butcher this name, Yusri Belgari, the babyface assassin, former Glory kickboxer, former opponent of Alex Pereira in kickboxing, now turned training partner and training at the Sheriff Fitness in his MMA career. You know, he was all right as a kickboxer. He was okay, but as an MMA fighter, he's 8-3. His 3 losses are to decision, so I guess in terms of durability, that's something to hold on to. I do know Marco Tulio was one of those losses in the Contender Series, and there's no shame in that. Marco Tulio is a legit problem at 185. Another loss he suffered was to Mohamed Asasali. He seems to be a 6'5" middleweight on the bigger side, and he lost a split decision to 12-4 Ahmed Sami. Not really too much to go off of the losses and decisions, but as for Bekayev, you know, he's got a lot of pro fights. He's like 20-3 record. Pretty well-rounded, finishes in the UFC, so nothing really negative to say about Bekayev, honestly. He's kind of shown up and just done his job. 29 years old, but he's got 23 pro fights. I rate that. In kickboxing, for me, though, Belgaroi, even if you go watch his Glory kickboxing stuff, like, he's big, but he doesn't really do anything special, per se. His athleticism it doesn't wow me. I don't see a speed factor to be wary of. I don't see a power advantage to be wary of. I kind of just see a rangy, tall kickboxer who, as Alex alluded to, I agree, his fight style is very stagnant. It's almost as if he's waiting for you to make the fight happen so he can counter you and kind of capitalize off your mistake. He doesn't really lead the dance, per se. And when you're kind of just a striker, I don't know how to feel about that. I feel as though Bekayev isn't going to be stupid. I don't feel like he's going to charge aimlessly. I feel like he's going to mix in the striking with the takedown attempts, because I feel as though Belgary's grappling is very much untested, very green. Like, I don't think he's really gone against like a guy who's really like trying to wrestle him as effectively as Bekayev can. And I'm yapping. I'm going with Bekayev in this one. I'm just torn between a decision and a TKO. I do know that Belgari has never been finished in MMA, but I think that changes in this one. I think there's a gap on the ground, and I think I just don't think Belgari does enough on the feet. He doesn't win by decisive enough margins, at least for MMA standards for me. I think Bekayev's a good athlete. I think he's going to get the takedowns. I think he's going to get the ground and pound. And I'm just torn between second and third, but I'll follow Alex on this one. I'll go with the second round ground and pound TKO from Azamat Bekayev, where he just displays he's the better MMA fighter. This is not kickboxing. So, yeah, I'll go with a second round ground and pound TKO for Bekayev.
I got Bekayev by. I'm gonna go with decision here. I do think that he can make it a stinker, but I could see what these guys are talking about, where he can ground and pound TKO him too. But I'm gonna go with the decision. I want to go with it. I hope he makes it competitive into a 29-28. I hope he does, but I could see Bekayev just dominating him. But I am rooting for the Dutchman.
Moving on to our next fight of the card. Let me get that up. Stephanie Luciano versus Ravena Oliveira. Both are not very good, I'll be real. I definitely have to rate Luciano a little bit more, just because she has win in the UFC. I don't think Oliveira does. Yeah, no, she doesn't. She has a loss to Lisboa earlier on the card. And I don't think Lisboa is very good. So I think if you're, putting yourself below that, Luciano is very young, 25. She's had a draw and then beat Talita Alencar, and then had a very close fight with Sam Hughes, where she low-key beat the shit out of Sam Hughes in that third round with her striking. And you know what? Sam Hughes is pretty good. I have to be honest. And at this point, Sam Hughes beats a lot of bitches, especially by unanimous decision. And if Luciano, I remember that fight, Luciano in the third round was whooping Sam Hughes' ass. Sam Hughes got it by out-wrestling and pressure putting on the first 2 rounds. But I think that's a lot more to be said and talked about Luciano than Ravena Oliveira, who just has the loss to Lisboa. I want to say she got subbed. No, it was a decision. But, I definitely think Luciano's got the striking advantage here. All Brazilian women have some level of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, whereas I feel like some Brazilian men won't. It'll be rare, but I feel like every single woman from Brazil has a level of BJJ. And I think that'll kind of cancel him out on the ground, and I got Luciano winning on the feet. I'm going to say 30-27, drastic decision, lopsided by Luciano having the better advantage on the feet.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to keep making it a short and simple thing when it comes to these women's fights. I got Luciano as well, but I could see Oliveira getting it done, mainly because it is women's MMA. Anything could possibly happen. But yeah, nothing really else to explain here. Alex pretty much said it best, and yeah, it's women's MMA. Who cares? Tony, you can go.
Battle of Brazilian prospects here in the, just want to double check what weight class this is, appears to be strawweight. Stephanie Luciano, as Alex alluded to in that Sam Hughes fight, impressed me even in a losing effort. I'll be honest, I don't really have too much awareness of Ravena Oliveira or her game. I haven't really watched any of her fights, truthfully. But I have seen Luciano, so call it bias, but I am going to go with Luciano in this one. I just feel as though, just based on what I'm hearing about what Ravena is, she seems to be the heavy grappler between the two of these fighters. I just feel like the UFC's got plenty of grapplers. I feel like they want to trend more to the striking aspect of the entertainment for the fights, and I just think Luciano is more entertaining. That being said, maybe Oliveira can, expose the grappling of Luciano, but I just don't feel like she'll have the durability or the endurance to do that for 15 minutes. I just feel like her grappling isn't dominant enough to just completely neutralize Luciano for 2 or 3 rounds. So that being said, torn between a late TKO and a decision, but I guess I'll go decision, but I can't see a late TKO, but I'll go decision with Stephanie Luciano. I just feel like her striking is going to be more crisp. It's going to be more accurate, more efficient. She'll land more strikes. I imagine that Ravena Oliveira will be wearing more of the damage of the fight. And I feel like even in the scenario if Ravena Oliveira is able to get takedowns, is able to get submission attempts and control time, so long as Luciano doesn't tap, I'm going to gamble and say that what she does on the feet is more impactful and more scoring based than what Oliveira does on the ground. So I'm going to go with a Luciano decision win, where she just showcases her striking is more effective than Oliveira's grappling.
All right, moving on to our next fight of the card. Kyle Prepolek versus Drew Dober. There's not a whole lot to go off of with Kyle Prepolek outside of him fighting Benoit and losing. Both are old. He kind of just came into the UFC as like a lamb to slaughter for Benoit. And he hit Benoit a couple times clean. Everybody myself included, is like, Benoit's fucking shit. How did he let this guy fucking hit him? But, you know, he's kind of a scrapper. Tony was saying he never got KO'd, but I'm looking through his record. I'm seeing losses to Austin Hubbard, Nordine Taleb, other people that I don't recognize. I don't know who Shane Campbell is. You know, these guys he's beating, I don't know them either. You know, he is knocking them out in brutal fashion, a lot of them. I see head kick wins, a lot of first-round KO wins. But who are these guys? They're not Drew Dober. Drew Dober wins the same way as Prepelec. I do think it'll be like a battle of two similar styles of people that kind of want to just get in there and box. And I do favor maybe the chin of Prepelec at this point. But Drew Dober has been known for having a really good chin. And he's only really had it cracked twice, which was Manuel Torres and Matt Frivola. Gene Silva beat him up, but that was a doctor stoppage. I'm going to trust the UFC experience of Drew Dober. I think he's still got it somewhat to beat somebody like Prepelec. I think this reeks of somebody getting finished, and you could say that's enough to go with Prepelec, but I think Drew Dober's still just a little bit better. I think, you know, it'll be shown that Prepelec hasn't fought at this level yet, and I think Drew Dober will find his shot. I'm going to say KO in the second round. I'm going to say big overhand, brutal knockout, like Emmett, Bryce Mitchell style. I think it's going to have to be a shot like that for Prepelec. I can see Prepelec walking into some shots. I can see Dober walking into some shots. I think this could be a really, really, really fun fight. So I would keep a lookout on this. I think it'll end in a finish either way. Hopefully I'm not wrong, but I'm going to go Drew Dober, second round TKO. A rare win for Drew Dober, if you know what I mean. Usually his wins come over different types of people, but Kyle Prepelec, a Canadian, maybe he'll be a little bit more, you know, maybe he'll want to, you know, make his stamp. I think I'm going to have to, you know, go with Drew Dober by TKO. A rare win for him, but I think he's going to overlook his bias. You know, same way Joe Pyfer sometimes got to keep the body cam on. It's just the way it is.
Type shit.
Sometimes you got to take a base. You got to, you know, you got to switch up the algorithm. You can't let him know what your next move is going to be. Drew Dober can't let him see the robes he got in his closet. He's got to change. He's got to change the tune-up a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna go Drew Dober, changing the tune-up, keeping those robes in his closet a secret. Moving on with the second round TKO.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun. Prepelec had a pretty decent performance. I know he still got slimed out by Benoit, but to be honest with you, that I didn't expect him to get finished that late. Like, I thought he would get finished quicker by Benoit, but you know, it is what it is. You know, like I said, it is on that, but I think I'm gonna go with Drew Dober as well. I don't like that he is a big ass favorite. 400 or some shit like that, minus 500. That shit's crazy. I don't know if I could trust that because the recent losses, but I just want to. I'm gonna sit here and think like, who? Drew Dober's only lost to who? Gene Silva, not a bad loss. Although Gene Silva could get frauded out even more in the later future, but you know, like I say, he's not losing to bad fighters. He's not losing to bad fighters. He's lost to Manuel Torres as well, up and coming prospect. Moicano, who's in the top 15. Makachev. Brad Riddell is a bad one. Getting knocked out by Frivola is pretty bad. I could see why, if you want to pick Prepelec, you could pick him to finish Drew Dober, because we have seen that Crimson Chin get tested many times, and it has been cracked before. But do I think Prepelec's going to do it? I don't think so. I'm going to believe in Drew Dober on here. I think he's going to get it done. I do think it will be a war. I think it could be like how... I think it's going to be like a signature Drew Dober moment where he's... I know it's not a sick because this person is wrong of color. Let's just say that he's the wrong pack of Skittles. This man is. I think it's going to be that signature moment where Drew Dober gets hurt. He looks like he's about to get finished, and then he's going to come from adversity again, and then he's just going to knock out Prepolek in the second. And I think it will be a signature performance for Drew Dober. Second round KO for Drew Dober. He's going to get it back on top. I do, like I said, I think that it is going to be scary because he is a heavy ass favorite. I don't like that, but we shall see.
Very interesting fight in the lightweight division in our prelims here. Two of these guys, pretty much for the most part, kind of fight similar. Drew Dober, very entertaining. I believe he's top 5, I want to say, in lightweight knockouts all time. 27-15 record, very experienced. A wealth of fights, pretty much 40 plus fights. Essentially 27-15, 20, 10, 30, 5-7, 12, 42 fights. Known for his durability. Out of 40 pro fights, having only been knocked out 4 times, but really only 2 times, is impressive. We know he's got the power. We know he trains in Denver, trains at altitude, so he actually does have a decent cardio for the most part to keep the pace and the durability as he weaponizes it and breaks people, as well as having power. Drew Dober's not a bad fighter, by no means. Prepolek, truthfully, not too much really to say. Kind of a short notice replacement for Benoit Saint Denis, able to get that win back in the column to then take momentum into his next fight. But I'll admit, man, Prepolek's no world beater by no means, but they're both the same age, both 36 years old. I do believe it's no question. It's like not even a debate. The strength of schedule and the competition is staggeringly in favor of Drew Dober. He's fought the who's who of the lightweight division, and he's had his ups, he's had his downs. He's in the midst of a 3-fight losing streak, so dare I say this is kind of a big fight for him in his career. And this is really tough for me because, as Mike alluded to, I don't agree with the price tag of Drew Dober in this one. I understand that he has the gap of experience as well as the attributes that I listed with the power and the durability and this and that, but minus 500 is kind of crazy given his fight style, given that he's coming off of at least a knockout or 2 in that losing streak. Prepolek, never been knocked out in 20 plus pro fights. Both are old. I reckon right about now, though, I think Prepolek's chin's better. The boxing, Drew Dober's got power, but he is hittable. He doesn't have like this insane defense or anything like that. He does get hit clean. It's just his shots land harder than yours, and that's how it goes. This is a really tough fight for me, man, because I do understand everything is logically saying Drew Dober, but I am very tempted, man. I am. You got at least 7 Canadians on this card out of 12 fights. You're going to have some that win, some that lose. I know this is one that everybody's thinking is going to lose, but I have a feeling, man, Prepolek's going to show up in this one. I understand the inactivity, and it doesn't really make too much logical sense as to why to pick him, but I actually feel like in a weird way in a fight like this, if you're telling me Drew Dober isn't going to wrestle and he's going to strike, he probably can get a knockout. But he also puts himself that much more likely of a chance to get knocked out as well. I feel like Prepolek's going to shock a lot of people in this one. And I'm going to reach. I'm going to reach in this one. I'm going to go with Kyle Prepolek, man. I know he didn't really look crazy in the Benoit Saint Denis fight, but right about now I do feel like Benoit Saint Denis, not just because of the roofie fight, but right about now he's just a tougher style to go against than a Drew Dober. I feel like Drew Dober with the knockout power, he's definitely something to be wary of, but I feel like you can counter Drew Dober. I feel like you can move around and use your footwork. I feel like you can touch him up in boxing exchanges. It's only a 15-minute fight. So, not going to be too much to ask, at least I hope, in the cardio aspect of Prepolek. He will not have faced any adversity up to this degree in his pretty much MMA career for the most part. And this should be another walk in the park for Drew Dober, but I think Prepolek's going to show up. I'm going to go with a Kyle Prepolek decision win. I think it's going to be very close, but I think that Drew Dober will be wearing the damage throughout the duration of the fight. I feel like so long as Kyle Prepolek doesn't get dropped and it's close, you could arguably give it his way. And like I said, I know the strength of schedule is very much in Drew Dober's favor, but I got a weird feeling. Prepolek's boxing is going to look sharp. I feel like Drew Dober's not going to wrestle when he could or should, and he's just going to leave it in the hands of the judges in Canada, and I don't know if that's the smartest decision. So if I'm Dober, I would recommend trying to go for the knockout, go for the kill, but I'm going to go with the Prepolek decision and an upset. Big upset.
Moving on to our next fight of the card, the middleweight debut of Danny Barlow versus Jordan Santos. You know, I'll be honest, I was pretty let down by Danny Barlow in his last two fights. Losing to Sam Patterson isn't too bad. Sam Patterson is quite good, but I really didn't like the way he looked against Nikolai Veritnikov or something like that. He was a really shit fighter, bottom of the barrel. I really think, if you're going to be something, you should show more in that type of fight, but he left it be like a very close and shitty, like, damn near split decision on the feet. I don't like the way Danny Barlow strikes. That being said, I do think he has enough to beat Jordan Santos, but I don't think Jordan Santos should be counted out to the degree that he is. I don't think Danny Barlow is the prospect anywhere near that people hyped him up to be. And I do think, to be fair, Ozzy Diaz isn't that bad to what a lot of people think either. And if I remember right, Jordan Santos, like, he didn't throw enough in that fight, whereas, like, normally Jordan Santos is, like, a pressure fighter, and he had, like, no pressure. So I could see a world where, like, if Jordan Santos brings his pressure back, that if he could maybe pressure Danny Barlow to a decision win. But I'll be honest, losing to Ozzy Diaz is a bad look. I think Danny Barlow, coming up to a new weight class, he'll bring a little bit of that welterweight skill with him. He's got some good power. I think now that he's finally faced adversity, maybe he can start learning from it. I am going to go Danny Barlow here, although something tells me maybe pick the Jordan Santos. I'm going to pick Danny Barlow, but I do think it's a closer fight than people give it credit for. I'm going to say Danny Barlow by decision. I don't think he'll knock him out. Actually, you know what? Yeah, fuck it. I'll say it knocks him out. I'll say he, like, finds the left hand, stumbles him, and then just, like, pounces at some point, like the second or third. So I'll go Danny Barlow, hurts him with the left hand, then pounces into, like, a sloppy-looking TKO. So, yeah, I'll choose that.
I don't know, man. I really don't trust in Danny Barlow. He really, really pissed me off in that last fight. He was supposed to be this undefeated dude with high knockout rates and this and that, yada, yada, yada. But he looked like fucking dog shit. I know Sam Patterson's actually good, so I'm not gonna, like, shit on. I'm not gonna shit on Sam Patterson. So, given the circumstances that he only lost to somebody that's actually not bad, I'm gonna pick Danny Barlow. If he loses, Danny Barlow should better count his days, because his ass is going to get shipped back with that rat-ass tail on the back of his head back to Memphis. Yeah. I got Danny Barlow by... I want to go with a decision here. I'm going to go with a decision. Why not? Well, he could make something impressive. I am thinking, like, maybe I will give him the benefit of the doubt. He is fighting at, like, a weight class where he doesn't have to cut a shit ton of weight. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He'll bring in his KO strength into I think he'll bring his KO strength into middleweight. Why not? There hasn't really been a heavy hitter like Danny Barlow, quote unquote, is in a minute. So let's see how he does in his debut against the Jordan Santos. I'll go second or third KO.
Middleweight clash here, the debut of Danny Barlow at middleweight. The Jordan Santos, Close fight in his last one with Ozzy Diaz. I thought it could have went either way to an extent, but I actually felt Jordan did enough to win, but he didn't not in the eyes of the judges. He didn't get his hand raised. As for Danny Barlow coming off the KO loss to Sam Patterson, personally, I know his margin of defeat wasn't as greater as DeJordan Santos's. Like, he got finished where DeJordan Santos lost a decision, so common sense would tell you oh, that's better than getting finished. But I rate the opponent that finished Danny Barlow more than the opponent that beat DeJordan Santos by decision. I think losing to Sam Patterson is better than losing to Ozzy Diaz. That's just me personally. But as for this matchup, I imagine the majority of this fight is going to take place on the feet. I feel as though, Danny Barlow, we had this impression of him. We had this idea that he was going to be this sick striker with a vicious left hand that could just put you down at any moment. And yes, he did lose to Sam Patterson, and it does kind of derail the hype, but I don't want to take that away from him. I think Sam Patterson's a really good fighter. I think at middleweight, it's going to be less of a harsher weight cut for Danny Barlow. I expect his speed and his striking to actually be better at middleweight. I feel like his herky-jerky brand of striking was, me and Alex were talking about it earlier before the podcast. He was saying he felt like a lot of Danny Barlow's shots, he would almost overextend himself out of range to an extent. Sometimes he would throw straight and it would almost weigh him down, the amount of intensity he put into the strike. I feel like at middleweight he'll be more stable, he'll be more grounded, he'll be at a less harsher of a weight cut. Hopefully it'll affect his durability positively as well, without compromising his speed or his technique. DeJordan Santos, he does train in the American top team. He does have a decent record in his own right. 28 years old, 10-2. But I'm going to go with Danny Barlow. I think he can bounce back from his first professional loss in his career. I couldn't help but notice that DeJordan Santos on his resume, his one other loss other than Ozzy Diaz was to an 18-15 guy or something, a record very similar to that on a regional scene promotion by decision. I don't rate that at all. I know Danny Barlow probably was spoon-fed regional scene bums that he could KO and stuff, but I just think there's more dynamicism. I think there's more opportunity to be noteworthy on the Danny Barlow side than there is on the DeJordan Santos side. So I'm just torn between a decision and a knockout. I'll be bold like Alex. I'll say Danny Barlow gets a knockout here. I just didn't like the striking I saw from DeJordan Santos. His punches didn't really look that impactful. Punch for punch, it looked like he needed an accumulation combo to really hurt Ozzy Diaz in that fight. I'm going to trust with the added weight that Barlow will be able to roll with the punches better. His movement will be better. I don't even really see him getting hit clean really too much in this fight, personally. I'm going to go with a second round TKO. Like Alex said, I think the left is going to be money in this fight. The straight left, I think, will create the big moment that Barlow needs to seal the deal. I'll go the second round TKO, Danny Barlow. Hopefully we can have the return of left hand to God and not just Danny Barlow.
Moving on to our next fight, Hyung-Sung Park versus Bruno Silva. It's hard to know what to feel about Hyung-Sung Park. To be fair, he did lose to just Tatsuro Taira, but the way he lost was really bad. He kind of got destroyed on the feet and the ground. He had no success. I still want to pick him against Bruno Silva, just because I've seen Bruno Silva be a heavy bag so many times for different fighters. He's getting older. I think Hyung-Sung Park, this is an opportunity for him to let his boxing shine. I do think it's too much to think that he has a performance like the last couple guys that fought Bruno Silva and really touches him up. But I do think that he will outbox him. I don't think it could be as impressive as, the likes of Joshua Van or Manel Kopp, but I do think it'll be there. And I like his grappling too. I think Bruno Silva's kind of just mid. He's got some leg kicks, and he's kind of runs in throwing hooks. I think Hyung-Sung Park's got more technique, more ability, more to his bag, more to his game overall than Bruno Silva. I don't see him as a complete heavy bag, whereas I see Bruno Silva as that. I think he'll go to a dominant decision against Bruno Silva. I'll say 30-27 outboxing, mixing in the grappling when he needs to. I think just dominance. I think Bruno Silva looks old and shit once again, and except this time it's not Manel Kape or Joshua Van, so you can't blame it on that. So I'm going to go Hyung-Sung Park, 2027.
Yeah, Alex brought up some good points. Hyung-Sung Park did get frauded out, kind of, but it's Tatsuro Taira. It's not a horrible loss. Not a horrible loss at all. Tyra's really good, and we'll just have to figure out, was Taira looking like a goat against somebody that was actually good on short notice, or Hyung-Sung Park is just that bad? But I'm going to be confident here. I think he is going to finish. Bruno Silva. I think Bruno Silva's chin is cooked, and I get it. Park hasn't really, like I said, he hasn't looked impressive. His defense didn't look good against Taira, but like I said, I think it's Taira. I don't hate that. I don't hate that performance against Taira. That was a good fight from Taira, and he took that fight on short notice, put his undefeated record on the line. So nobody can hate on that. I'll give him some props on that. I think he will finish Bruno mainly because Bruno, like Alex alluded to, Bruno is getting older, and he is taking a shit ton of damage in his previous fights. He got pieced up by Manel Kape, cheated like a cunt, and ended up getting his ass whooped at the end. And Joshua Van just put a masterclass on him, to the point where he came up on short notice and cooked the number one contender. Didn't cook him, but put a fight of the year candidate, and won, and he's now fighting for the title. So we'll have to see what happens here. I got Park. I think he's going to knock out Bruno. I'll go second round. KO. I think he's going to get him out of there. I think he will use the boxing. I could see him getting him out of there in round one, but his flyweight, at the end of the day, I don't really see that many first round finishes like that happen, especially by knockout. But yeah, I think I've yapped too much about this fight. I got Park, second round KO.
Good fight in the flyweight division. Bruno Silva, for the most part, he only really loses, at least at a UFC level, to the likes of Manel Kape and Joshua Van, as Mike and Alex already said. His wins aren't really too captivating, like JP Buys. Just not. He doesn't really wow you. He kind of just has power. Even though he's Brazilian, his jiu-jitsu isn't crazy, in my opinion. His grappling isn't that wild. Even though he trains with, the likes of Henry Cejudo, his grappling really isn't that crazy. He's kind of just likes to throw big shots, overhand hooks, and things of that variety in the pocket, and just kind of likes to go band for band. Hyung-Sung Park, coming off his first career loss at the hands of Tatsuro Taira on short notice. He dared to be great. Didn't go according to plan, obviously, but nonetheless, that's one of the better fighters in the division, as well as probably one of the best, if not one of the top three grapplers in the weight class in Tatsuro Taira. I guess punch for punch, I'll say Bruno Silva hits harder than Tatsuro Taira, but Tatsuro Taira is improving every single fight, man. Especially coming off the Royval loss, his striking looked improved. His range management looked improved. Just his overall movement, he looked a lot better from the small amount of time we saw in the Hyung-Sung Park fight. He definitely looked like he improved. But I agree with Mike's sentiment of Bruno Silva's only getting older. He ain't really learning any new tricks. He kind of just is the same fighter. It's just a matter of what caliber of opponent is going to go his way. I still like to have faith in Hyung-Sung Park, even though he's coming off that loss. I think he'll right the wrong of that defeat. I'm torn with the method of victory because I truly do think all three methods are live. I could see a world where Alex's prediction comes through, where Hyung-Sung Park just displays he's the better overall fighter through 15 minutes and wins a dominant decision. I could see Mike's position on the fight. I could see, just the durability of Bruno Silva withering away, eroding, and Hyung-Sung Park comes in motivated and is able to land the shots in the chin to get him out of there. But I'm going to be different. I saw that Bruno Silva, if I'm not mistaken, only has like one career submission loss. I'm gonna pick Young Sung Park to get a sub. I think he's gonna club and sub. I think he's gonna compete on the feet. I think he's gonna land good shots where it'll give like the body language of Bruno Silva. Will say he's hurt, but he's still got a decent poker face. But I think particularly to like the body, I want to see knees in the clinch. I want to see body kicks at range. I want to see him attack the body, which will eventually lead to an unexpected takedown or him clipping him and jumping on top and advancing position towards a submission. All right, yeah, I'm actually gonna go with a submission for Young Sung Park. I feel as though out of his 10 wins, he's got like, I want to say 4 or 5 submissions. I think the grappling of Bruno Silva is a bit overrated. I know no one really takes him down for the most part, but I feel like that part of his game is kind of untested. And I agree with what Alex said. I think Young Sung Park's margin of victory, it's going to be hard to top what Joshua Van and Manel Cap did, especially on the feet and the striking aspects of the fight. I don't think Young Sung Park has the same speed, output, or dynamicism as a Joshua Van or a Manel Cap on the feet. So I feel as though he's going to attack the fight differently. He's going to use the striking to open up avenues for the grappling. And I was really impressed with his performance against Carlos Hernandez. I know a lot of people don't really rate him in the flyweight division, but I actually think he's not bad considering his 10-4 or 10-5 record, whatever the case may be. He only loses to, again, like a certain caliber of opponent. I'm going to go to Young Sung Park submission, whether it's a club and sub or just he's able to take him down and able to advance position out of the gate. Either one I think will fit the prediction. I'm going to go with a second round submission. Second or third, I'm thinking second, where he'll compete in the feet, he'll draw out Bruno Silva, he'll make him overextend, probably shoot a takedown off that, maybe a missed overhand, he could shoot a takedown and then start getting to work. Or I could see where a counter is able to catch Bruno Silva, and then he's able to jump on top and go for the choke. But either way, I'm going with a submission for peace of mind, Young Sung Park, second round. I feel like he's going to attack the grappling of Bruno Silva.
All right, moving on to our next fight of the card. Charles Jourdain versus Davy Grant. It's a good fight. I gotta be honest, though, I think Davy Grant's, he's about 38, 39. He's really getting up there in age. Blackshear has dog shit striking, and he's got pretty decent grappling, and I feel like those are the type of people that Davy Grant can beat. But in hindsight, there's been some moments where Davy Grant hasn't looked the greatest. Like that Rafael Asuncao fight. He did wind up getting the submission win in the last couple seconds, but Asuncao was dominating him in his last fight in the UFC. I think, there are certain fights where Jourdain hasn't looked him the greatest either. But I think ever since coming down to bantamweight, Jourdain has looked pretty good. I feel like he's looked honestly like a normal size of bantamweight, whereas I felt like he was always undersized at featherweight. I think he looks good. He only had that one fight against Victor Henry, but a lot of people don't finish Victor Henry, I'll be honest, and he was able to submit Victor Henry. I honestly like that. I think Jourdain's got good enough striking and grappling to kind of just out-MMA Davy Grant in this fight. And there's also been times where Davy Grant gets a bullshit decision thrown his way. And what better time to get a bullshit decision thrown your way than fighting a Canadian in Canada? I don't necessarily think it'll come to that, but if it does, you obviously got to favor Jourdain in that scenario as well. But I like Jourdain's grappling game. I like his submissions. That guillotine of his is actually really good. He's honestly like one of the only guys, I don't mind when he pulls guillotines. And I think he's improved his striking as recently as well. I think his stature and overall dominance on the feet, I think he carries a little bit of aura at bantamweight, whereas he never did at featherweight, and he's facing people that are way bigger than him, like the Sean Woodson fight, where he just can't land a glove on him. I think bantamweight's his weight class, and I think he'll win a decision here. Even if he doesn't, he will. You know how it goes. But I think he has the grappling advantage, and I think he's got the speed and youth advantage as well. So I'm going to say 29-28 Jourdain, UD.
Yeah, I got Charles Jourdain as well. I canned Davy Grant, just flash KO or some shit like that. Davy Grant is a tough bastard, but I got Jourdain, bro. I think he's gonna use his height and reach on Dave. Well, I don't think that's that big of a. Well, let me check. Yeah, they're pretty much the same reach and same frame. It's not really far off, but I think Jourdain's just gonna use his youth in this fight. He is the younger fighter. I know Davy Grant's been knocking out the young ones for all the unks out there, but Unk's about to get put down into a retirement home, I think, for this one. Unfortunately, I do like Davy Grant, but something's telling me that he is going to lose. And what a better place for Charles Jourdain to beat Davy Grant is in Canada. I do think it will be a very good fight and a very close one. Charles Jourdain puts on entertaining fights. He is a very entertaining guy. Same with Davy. Davy Grant's also got some entertaining fights. I could see this. This is going to be my prediction for possibly if Holland and we'll get to that one in a minute. But if that one early, I could see that being a possible fight of the night winner for between them two, because they both have very good fights. I don't remember either or in a boring fight per se. Maybe the Sunsao fight was the most boring that I can remember, but other than that, been pretty entertaining fights from both ends. I'm not saying they're like Yuri or Gaethje levels, but I think they're pretty somewhat entertaining. But anyways, I got Jourdain on by split decision. I think it will be a close decision. I could see him finishing Davy, but I'm going to go with decision here. Split decision, where it looks like it could go to Davy, but they're going to give it to Jourdain mainly because it is in Canada. But I think he'll edge out on damage as well.
Tough fight in the bantamweight division here in Canada, Vancouver. Got Dangerous Davy Grant, the the OG of the bantamweight division. Still pushing, still kicking. He's doing really good, man, for someone his age. 2-fight win streak against the likes of Ramon Tavares and Damon Blackshear. Kind of two different styles, a striker and a grappler. As for Charles Jourdain, didn't really work out in featherweight. Decided to come down to bantamweight. I do hear what Alex is saying. He didn't really have that aura or intimidating factor physically at 145. He kind of was just a guy there. At bantamweight, he's nothing really special either, but it's better than what he was at 145, at least from a physicality standpoint. There were just guys that were taller, longer, or just more skilled at featherweight, whereas at bantamweight, not saying it's not as skilled, but he could just hold his own physically there better, if that makes any sense. Tough fight. Both guys have really similar records. Jourdain's 16-8-1, and Davy Grant's 15-7 or something. Jourdain, though, even though they have a pretty much a near identical record, he's got a 10-year youth advantage in his favor. I'd like to think Charles Jourdain takes his career seriously to an extent, or at least wants to continue to fight. Davy Grant, man, for an old guy, bro, he's still got it, bro. His boxing's not bad. Never been knocked out. That's insane to me. Never been knocked out in 20-plus pro fights in the bantamweight division. And he's going against the likes of an Adrian Yanez, a Daniel Marcos, a Chito Vera, and he's not getting knocked out for being the older guy, which I do find impressive. And, in my mind, the bantamweight division, is a skill-based division. The knockout power rate isn't crazy, so you kind of have to be on top of your game. So typically, my conventional wisdom would tell me, okay, the older you get in this weight class, it's probably not going to be any good for you because your speed, your skill is going to dwindle away. But Davy Grant finds a way to fucking just prove that wrong. Going back to this matchup, I could see why Mike's picking split decision. I totally get it. It's razor thin margins. I don't think you kind of have to say durability wise is in favor of Davy Grant. I mean, he's never been knocked out. Jourdain's not really a heavy hitter like that. It's a really tough fight, but I'm feeling what Mike's going. I'm gonna go with the Charles Jourdain split decision as well. And like Alex said, I feel like he can win a decision without even winning it type shit. I just feel like there's more fights to be had, I guess, out of Charles Jourdain. Davy Grant's old. He's only got so much time left, I guess, and this would be something to reignite the brand of Charles Jourdain, I guess, a win at home in Canada, against a wily veteran in Davy Grant. So yeah, I'll go to split decision. Win here for Charles Jourdain. Reluctantly picking this, not too confident in it. I could totally see a world where Davy Grant wins. But I'm going to say, for the sake of that, Jourdain just kind of, like Alex said, he makes it an MMA fight. He doesn't just box like Ramon Taveras did. He doesn't just grapple like, what's it called, Damon Blackshear tried to, I guess. He just kind of mixes it all together. Leg kicks, knees, boxing, maybe even a takedown attempt, maybe even a guillotine attempt. He's just going to have more versatility. And him being in Canada, he'll be rewarded for it. So I'll go with a split decision win for Charles Jourdain. Tough fight. Very tough fight.
Moving on to our next fight of the card. Kyle Nelson versus Matt Frevola. Now, this is a tough one for me. But I think I am going to wind up going with Kyle Nelson in this. I think he's deceptively good. I think he's, he's Kyle Nelson, and I feel like everybody hates him because he, kind of robbed Doo-Ho Choi. But I honestly think he's pretty good. I think he's got good kicks. I think he's underrated on the feet and in the ground. And a lot of the times, lately, he's been beating all of his opponents outside of Steve Garcia. And he did pretty good in that fight until Steve Garcia kind of got on top and started unloading. And, that's just kind of how Steve Garcia fights. He'll take his licks early, and then he'll find his range, and then he'll just TKO you. I think Kyle Nelson, if your only loss is to Steve Garcia, it's not bad. He's coming up to lightweight to fight again. I honestly like that against a guy I view as a lot slower than these featherweights in Matt Frevola. I think Matt Frevola is kind of like a guy who's a bit stuck in the mud, and I've seen him take so much damage recently, and that I think just that Fares Ziam KO was bad. That's a flatline career changing KO. And low-key, the Benoit head kick was close to that as well. But the Ziam knee was scary. I don't think he'll be the same. I think he's going to come in kind of as an old man. And he kind of has to grapple and box in this fight. And I think Kyle Nelson has the ability to grapple as well. And I think his kicking game is enough to keep Frevola at range. And him being kind of older, slower, I think Kyle Nelson will be able to keep a range on him and kind of rip body kicks and leg kicks and head kicks to the guard, kind of like he did against Fernando Padilla, and just kind of outpoint him. And, even if Kyle Nelson doesn't win, he's a Canadian, so in Canada, it's close. I think Kyle Nelson will give a good visual, keep a high output, kicks to a lot of the guard, body kicks to the guard a lot, just keeping Frevola busy, keeping Frevola's arms busy, to blocking kicks, so he doesn't really have any offense to throw himself. And I just think, he's just going to be kind of trudging in like an old man trying to throw his hands while he's getting kicked to the body. And, not necessarily to say they even land or they're even counted as strikes, but Frevola has to address those by blocking them with his arms, and that'll kind of stifle his own offense. So I'm going to say Kyle Nelson. I'm going to say 29-28. I could see a couple judges giving it 30-27. I think Kyle Nelson will win on the scorecards.
My bad. Yeah. Tough fight to predict. I really tried my fucking hardest to find a reason to pick Matt Frevola. I really did try. I want to root for Matt Frevola. I hope he does win. I want to pick him, bro. I have a feeling he could put all his shit off, but man, got KO'd back to fucking back by head kicks. I'm gonna root for Matt Frevola here, but I'm going to pick Kyle Nelson. Unfortunately, I think he is going to knock. Oh man, I hope Matt Frevola does win though. That would be funny as hell. But I I think Matt Frivola is gonna lose. Oh my god, I almost said he was gonna win. Oh my god, I almost said it. I got Kyle Nelson by KO. I think he could get a head kick. I have seen him throw a couple good head kicks in his fights. For some reason, I could see it land on him. I got first or. I could see him knocking him out. You know what? I'm gonna go first round knockout. Fuck it, head kick, or timed. Oh, man, I am shooting myself in the foot fucking right now here, because I don't know. I don't even know why I'm making this complicated. It's not even that big of a deal of a fight, but I think Kyle Nelson will get it done by KO. I don't know which round, but I do think he will knock him out. I could see him knocking him out with a head kick or an elbow.
Interesting fight in the lightweight division we have here. The Steamroller versus the Monster, Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson, former featherweight, coming back to lightweight. Appears for the first time since 2018. I saw in his Tapology that he fought Diego Ferreira and lost in 2018. So that tells me that he's had a stint at lightweight before. Didn't go according to plan. Went to featherweight, did the cut, had some fights there, had some wins, had some losses. Now he's coming back to lightweight. Older he's getting, probably doesn't like the weight cut at 145. That's my best guess on that. The case for both these guys, I feel like is kind of the same. Their records are mid, 11-5 for Matt Frivola with a draw, 16-6 with I believe a draw for Kyle Nelson. We kind of talk about their their performances and losses more than we talk about their wins. Frankly, we talk about like who did Matt Frivola lose, and that's how we rate him. He lost to Arman Sarukian. Yeah, he got knocked out by Terrence McKinney, but that's a large portion of Terrence McKinney's win condition early on in that first round. He lost to Faris Siam. He lost to BSD. So this is where we rate him. As for Kyle Nelson, kind of a similar situation. He's the guy that got finished by Steve Garcia when he was doing all right. He was winning kind of early a little bit to an extent of the fight, but then he got absolutely just destroyed by Steve Garcia. He also lost to Diego Ferreira and so forth. Both these guys, similar record, similar age. Kyle coming off a loss. Frivola coming off multiple. Tough fight, man. Striking. Offensively, I guess I'd lean Frivola a little bit. I think he's a bit dynamic. Kyle Nelson's striking doesn't wow me. He kind of just does enough to get by. In the grappling, I don't really see Frivola wrestle as much as he should, to be brutally honest. I really don't. Kind of hard for me to trust him to do that in Canada. That'd be bold. Tough fight. But, this is really a coin flip. But hearing Mike and Alex go with them, we're in Canada, why not? I'll go with them. I will admit, though, I did think he robbed Fernando Padilla. I don't know how he got that decision. I have no idea how Kyle Nelson got that decision win. So I think he'll have those types of black magic powers at play in this fight as well. In the Fernando Padilla fight, I didn't think he won. He got his hand raised. I feel like that could be the case here in this one, in his return to lightweight. I feel like in Canada, with the voter immunity power, it'll be a close fight, but he'll get his hand raised at the end. So I'm going to go with a Kyle Nelson decision win, where I think we're going to see a little bit of everything. I think we're going to see a willingness to get into the pocket early. I think slowly but surely it'll fade away into the fight. I think we'll see a little bit of calf kicks and leg kicks at range, maybe even a head kick, because Mike pointed out Frivola's been susceptible to the head kick and just knees as well, knees and head kicks lately. I just feel like Kyle Nelson's going to do a little bit of everything. We're going to see some cage riding. We're going to see some takedown attempts. We're going to see some calf kicks. We're going to see some boxing exchanges. He's going to do enough to get by. I'll go with a Kyle Nelson decision win in Canada. Clean sweep. Both have good losses. Not good losses, but both have losses to credible names. He's losing to Billy Quarantillo, Jai Herbert, guys like that. It's not bad. And I do agree with what Alex is saying. I feel like striking a featherweight, naturally lighter man skill, but particularly featherweight. I think the featherweight division, low key, is the best striking division in the UFC. I do feel that.
You said featherweight, you think is?
I think featherweight is the best pure striking division, just pure strikers. If you're going
Okay, I don't think that.
just going off them, just striking. Like bantamweight's good, but I feel like there's a bit more grappling at bantamweight. But featherweight, I think if you're going off just the pure technicality and the speed and the frequency of their striking, I think overall as a division, it's not bad. I think it's the best in the UFC.
I think featherweight's a little dead right now, low key.
That's fair.
I think bantamweight's number one, but I don't hate the take. Volkan, Max Holloway are featherweights.
Yeah.
A lot of the best lightweight strikers.
But he's a good striker. I hate him, but he is a good striker. Diego Lopez striking has looked improved. Laurel Murphy striking. That's just Arnold Allen. I think he's got good boxing. Yeah.
I'm just thinking of like the even some of the unranked bantamweights have great striking. You know what I mean? Like Jonathan Martinez is the leg kick goat. You know what I mean? Pretty much. Yeah. He's landed more leg kicks than anybody else, and he's unranked. Marcus McGee has like got great hands, and he's like on the end of the rankings. Mm-hmm. But let's move on. Side tangent. Moving on to our next fight, Cody Gibson versus Arichi Lang. I was actually going to pick Arichi Lang. I'm going to pick Cody Gibson, though. I think he's overall the better fighter. The reason I almost picked Arichi Lang was because of the Raul fight. I was thinking, Raul couldn't really sub Arichi Lang, and Arichi Lang had some moments like where he kind of hit him on the feet pretty good. But low-key, I think that's Raul's inexperience more than anything. And I think Cody Gibson, if anything, doesn't have a lack of inexperience. He's been here for a long time. A lot of UFC fights, and like even for being like an older guy, he doesn't fight very old. He does like throw punches and like combos relatively fast sometimes. He beat the shit out of Damon Blackshear on the feet before he lost. He does have like no IQ, so he might do stupid shit, but I do see him as the more well-rounded fighter overall. If anybody grapples in the fight, it'll be him. And I think he has the ability to hang on the feet, if not outstrike Arichi Lang. So I think Cody Gibson's got to be my pick here. I also think Arichi Lang's a bit undersized for bantamweight, former flyweight. Just like a skinny twig out there. I don't see him as dangerous, really. So I'm going to go Cody Gibson, just being the more well-rounded, experienced, bigger fighter. And I think that's what it'll come down to. He's got a good clinch game as well. Like he can compete everywhere in the fight. So I'm going to go Cody Gibson. He might get a finish, but I'm going to say 30-27 or 29-28, which is kind of like a dominant decision where there will be moments where the striking doesn't go his way, but it'll mix it up into like the clinch, and he'll use his knees and elbows and go to the grappling and get a UD for himself. So I'll go Cody Gibson, unanimous decision.
Yeah, I got Cody Gibson as well. I think Cody Gibson is way better than Arichi Lang. I know Arichi Lang is younger than Cody Gibson, but Cody Gibson has not really looked terrible in his run, if you know what I'm trying to say. Like, he had a very close fight with Brad Katona, who was fucking out of the UFC. They gave that motherfucker the fucking trophy for nothing, pretty much. Anyways, all jokes aside, it's all good, Brad Katona. There's always a third time's a charm. Sorry. Oh, I don't know why I'm laughing that hard about it, bro. It's just this motherfucker got a trophy for pretty much getting cut. They're like, yeah, Brad, we're gonna give you this trophy. We know you have one already. We're gonna give it to you, and then you're gonna get cut, buddy. Yeah, sorry to say. There you go. Anyways, enough of that. Enough of my corny ass jokes. Back to the fight. I think Cody Gibson's gonna win, not only because I think Cody Gibson is not that bad for his record. I'm not saying he's a world beater or anything, but I think he has the tools to finish Arichi here, and that's exactly what I'm going to pick. I think he is going to finish Arichi Lang on the ground by. I'm gonna go with an arm triangle submission. He has a very good arm triangle. If you've seen Cody Gibson's submissions with it's normally been ending with an arm triangle. I'll go with a second round arm triangle submission by Cody Gibson. I think you can use that. He's very good at it too. If you've seen his record in submissions, it's been on arm triangles, and I think he will get it.
But here in the bantamweight division, between the teacher Cody Gibson and Richie Lang, both guys 10+ losses in their career in the bantamweight division. No real future champion emerging in this fight. Just kind of just a staple of the bantamweight division going forward. Whoever wins this one, tough fight. The betting odds have to still got to pick 'em. The better record, I guess, is a Richie Lang. He is also the younger fighter by like 6-8 years, something like that. 32 to like Gibson's like 38 or something along those lines. He is the smaller fighter in this one. He has a bit of a submission problem in his career. Doesn't really get knocked out frequently. Tough fight, man. Because I do think Cody Gibson has the physical advantages in this one, being the taller, longer fighter. I do think he's probably is the more technical striker between the two of them. Tough fight. Originally, I was of the mindset of going with Cody Gibson. I was thinking that he can defend the takedowns, he can use the striking, maybe even get in the clinch and do work there. And it's tough because, you look at both their records and, like, you don't really expect anything from either one. But I will say the advantage I guess I will give Cody Gibson is, I guess, like, regional scene MMA American trash is better than regional scene MMA Chinese trash, I guess. Band for band, I guess I'd venture to say that. I'm torn. I kind of wanted to pick a Richie Lang, but after hearing both the breakdowns, I could see as to why you go Cody Gibson. The only problem for me is the IQ of Cody Gibson. Like, he had the Damon Blackshear fight in his, like going his way, and then he found a way to, like, completely ruin his momentum and then give a finish to Damon Blackshear. He literally was winning, and then he, like, let me shoot a takedown on Damon, and he fucking got reversed and got subbed. I think that's what happened. It was either a sub or something along those lines, but he lost the fight. I'm gonna venture to say Richie Lang's grappling isn't that good. I guess I'll go with Cody Gibson in the decision win, where he's able to just land more meaningful shots. He's able to defend the takedowns and get back up and things like that. I am torn. I really do want to kind of pick a Richie Lang, but man, I guess I'll go Cody Gibson ever so reluctantly. I'll go reluctantly Cody Gibson. Not confident in it.
Moving on to our next fight of the card. Manon Fiorot versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. I'm going to have to go Manon Fiorot here. I don't like the striking defense of Jasmine. She has improved a little bit. But if you watch her fight versus Natalia Silva, Natalia, like, beat the absolute shit out of her. Like, she was, like, Max Hollowaying her ass. And, I don't like that. Like, if your striking defense, like, it looks like that. And I know Natalia's kind of like a volume striker, whereas Manon's not. But if Manon has anywhere near a level of striking success, and she's able to land as freely as Natalia could, this might be a KO. I'll be honest. I don't care how tough Jasmine is. Natalia is a sniper. She's very good at what she does, but she doesn't hit very hard. Even if Manon doesn't have the output of Natalia, but if she has the success, if she's able to do what she wants to do on the feet and hit her in the face at will, this could be bad. Manon isn't very aggressive. I don't see her getting a KO. If I had to pick, I'm going to pick decision. But if Jasmine doesn't move her head, I do think that's a possibility. If Manon has the level of success as Natalia, I don't think necessarily she will. She is a very big girl. I think she'll be able to use that and help defending the takedowns. She definitely has a striking advantage here. I do think Jasmine's grappling is pretty good, but I do think she's mostly been able to do it against girls that are cants and just kind of pressure them and kind of out MMA them. I don't think she'll be able to do that to Manon. I think Manon's a big bitch. She's damn near a man. She's got good kicks, good frame, powerful, strong. I think she does have an underrated grappling game herself. I think Manon, like I said, if she has free range striking and can land at will, this could be bad. But I'm going to say decision. I'm going to say 29-28. One of the judges goes rogue and goes gives it to Jasmine Jasudavicius. But I think Manon will still get it. Split decision though because we're in Canada. But Manon still gets it.
More fucking women's MMA. Jasmine is not bad, but I'm gonna go with the Frenchman himself, Manon Fiorot. I think he is going to get it done here. I know he just came off a very and it was just a fucking Shevchenko fight, bro. Let's just be honest how it is, man. Either it's a domination or if it's a close decision. That's just a signature Shevchenko way to lose. And she wasn't doing horrible. It's just Shevchenko's fucking good, bro. You can't really say anything bad about it. Am I high on Manon? Fuck no. She's no Tracy Cortez. Shout out Big Tracy, by the way. I got Fiorot by decision. I think she's just going to cook Jasmine everywhere. I could see Jasmine pulling it off possibly somehow, but to be honest, in my opinion, she needs a God's green earth in this fight and just take her vitamins and say her prayers on this one. But yeah, not really else to say here. I got Fraudo by decision. 30-27 masterclass. But I could see a split. I could see it where it is on some Corey Sandhagen shit where it shouldn't be fucking split decision, but it is. But yeah, Tony, you can go.
Great fight here in the flyweight division. These are two fighters that I'm pretty fond of in the weight class. I'll admit, truthfully, fight aside, matchmaking-wise, kind of pretty fucked up from the UFC, in my opinion, to make this the fight for Jasmine Jasudavicius in the feature fight. You got Manon Fiorot coming off a title challenge loss. Not the direction I thought they were going to go with Jasmine. But, aside from that, I actually do rate Jasmine Jasudavicius. She's only losing to the likes of Tracy Cortez and Natalia Silva and one of the loss for the most part. Her wrestling is legit. She's 36. She is a bit on the older side, but Manon's no spring chicken herself. She's 35-ish as well. Both these girls are old. This is your classic striker v grappler matchup. I will say though, man, if Jasmine's able to get on top, look out, bro. She does serious work on top. That's really the fight. That truly is the fight. Can Jasmine Jasudavicius get the takedowns? Because if she can't, Manon Fiorot should be able to tag her at will. I'm thinking that, Shevchenko is just the GOAT of flyweight. Let's just call it what it is. And I did pick her, and that's my day one. Manon's my day one. I was always going to pick her in that fight. I always was. But I will admit, I didn't like when she became the betting favorite. That kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies. As for this one, I can understand why she's favored, but the thought of the takedown defense is still lingering in my mind. I know Shevchenko's boxing she was really able to exploit the defensive deficiencies of Manon Fiorot's boxing. I want to say she literally broke her nose first 2 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. She caught her clean right on her fucking nose, and that shit was leaking ever since that fight. And then she was able to mix in the takedowns. Just an absolute masterclass from. Maybe not masterclass. It was a good decision win for Shevchenko. I do think Manon was able to make it closer too, but nonetheless, great decision win for Shevchenko. Jasmine Jasudavicius is not that on the feet, guys. She don't got the kicking game, she don't got the boxing, she don't got the timing, the range management, or the movement in general of a Valentina Shevchenko. People actually think she got away with one in the Erin Blanchfield fight. A lot of people feel like she tapped in that fight and they just didn't see it, type shit. But going back to this actual matchup, enough of me yapping. I really think this fight is just Jasmine Jasudavicius get takedowns, because if she doesn't, Manon Fiorot probably wins that more times than not. So for the sake of, I'm just going to venture to say Manon Fiorot is just cut from a different cloth than the wins that Jasmine Jasudavicius has been getting recently. I think she's better than Jessica Andrade. I think she's better than Zombie Girl. Like, I just think there's levels. The physicality, I do rate of men on Fiorot. Yeah, I just think Fiora's going to be moving at range, not really giving Jasmine Jujubis a clean entry on the takedown. When they're in the clinch, I expect her to hold her own and maybe even do some damage with some knees to the body. I can see a late TKO here. I feel like as much as Jasmine wants to make a statement in Canada, I feel like Manon wants to also make a statement like, just because I lost a title fight, don't count me out yet. It's a really close fight. I'll go with a Manon Fiorot, dare I say, even a split decision. I think it's going to be the thinnest of margins this fight. I can see a world where Jasmine could potentially get takedowns. What she does with it, we will see. But I'll go with my day one still. I'll go with a Manon Fiorot decision. But, man, it's going to be a close fight. Don't sleep on Jasmine, man. She's a hard worker. She's got good wrestling. Manon better be on her P's and Q's with that takedown defense, or it could be a long night. I'll go with a Manon Fiorot, very close decision win. Very close. It's a good thing she's French. It's a good thing she's in French and this is in Vancouver. It's a good thing you're French. Type shit.
Yeah. Moving on to our next fight of the card, it'll be Kevin Holland versus... No. It'll be Marlon Vera versus Eamon Zahabi.
This is a good fight. I know I've criticized Marlon Vera in his career. Do I still think he's shit? Abso-fucking-loot. Do I forgive Eamon and fucking the shitty ass country of Canada for robbing my boy Jose Aldo? Fuck no. Fuck Eamon Zahabi. He's getting knocked out in his hometown, home country. Them soy Canadians are gonna get fucked up. If Marlon Vera doesn't win this, cut him from the UFC. He's shit. No. Feed him to Vinicius Oliveira. Give him Vinicius Oliveira. Have him get his chin cleaned off. Fuck them all. Fuck them both. But if Marlon wants to win my good gracious back, he knocks out that Ariel Helwani looking motherfucker. Man, fuck, man. I got Vera. But I could see something where Vera just does something stupid. But I think he's got the tools. I think. I just don't see the whole hype in Zahabi. I know there's no hype to begin with, but he's just not that good, bro. There's nothing for me to like pick him. I could see him looking good in this fight because Cheeto is pretty shit and he starts slow and doesn't know how to fucking. He doesn't know how to fucking use his abilities and shit, but something's telling me he's going to get a knockout here. I have seen him. I have heard that Zahabi's been KO'd by a flashy move. And why not pick the dude that throws flashy shit against old motherfuckers? I got Cheeto. I think he's going to get it done. I don't think he's fully done yet. I think he will KO Zahabi. I'll go with a third round. I'll go third round KO. I think he's gonna look like signature Cheeto, where oh my gosh, Cheeto's getting pieced the fuck up here. Oh my goodness, everybody, the whole commentary booth is just glazing Zahabi's boxing, even though it's fucking ass. Oh my goodness, Zahabi got him down to the ground, and then third round's gonna hit. Zahabi and has got the whole fans chanting his fucking Ariel Helwani ass name, and then Cheeto's just gonna find that clean shot that knocks him the fuck out. Yeah, Cheeto, do it for Dada.
I'm gonna have to go with it's a tough fight. You know, in one hand, I think Eamon.
Sorry, I just hit a parlay. I had T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, touchdown 40 for 300. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'll edit that out. Sorry.
Only winning money mid game. Let's go.
Let's fucking go. Oh, let's go.
Good shit, Tony.
And I started them both on fantasy. Let's go. We know this shit. Sorry. Oh, Alex, I don't mean to be rude. If you can, leave the call and join back. Your camera is like messing up.
Okay.
That was a good bet, Tony.
Go.
You actually did something smart in your life. Good shit.
Let's go. Yes, sir. Let's go. I was staring at my phone the entire time, like, please, T. Higgins. Jamar Chase just got it 5 minutes ago. He got it right back. Let's fucking go. Joe Flacco.
That's what we do.
Hell yeah.
Real Joe Flacco.
Flaccovelli shit, boy. Let's go. That's huge for my fantasy team, too, bro. I started both them boys. Let's go.
Indeed, that's what we do.
Let's go.
But, yeah, for Cheeto versus Zahabi, it's a tough fight. On one hand, like, Cheeto just, like... For, like, most of the fight, he's just, like, sitting on the back foot, and, like, sometimes he does stuff in, like, the second and third round, or fourth and fifth if it is a 5-round fight. But, like, lately, he's just kind of been standing there, like, menacingly and doing jack shit. Like, he just let Cheeto, or he just let Guerrero drop him and take him down. There was a moment in the second round where he started kind of, like, kicking back, but, like, there was nothing of real, like, substance on it, which... kind of disappointing because like I actually was a really big Cheeto fan like right on his come up because of how like vicious he was fighting. Like it was like everything was not only like to hurt you but to like damage you. Like he was like big on like oblique kicks and like elbows, like everything he could do to just hurt you as bad as he could. And like I was like that's just like such a badass way of fighting. But lately he like I feel like he's gotten away from that and he's just like wants to find like one counter shot that'll knock you out. And he's content to like lose rounds until he's able to do that. And Zahabi is really good with game plans. He's well rounded. His brother is a really good coach. That's partially responsible for the success of like people like GSP. Other people like I know Arnold Allen trains with him, and a lot of other great fighters have like studied under his brother Firas. And I think Ayman Zahabi like he's definitely got the mind for it as well. And I do think he's smart enough to kind of read Cheeto like a book and do what he wants to him early. He's just got to watch out for that shot that Cheeto's looking for. And it's funny because I think Cheeto could really find that shot. I think he could against somebody like Zahabi, but I don't think he's as good as somebody like an Aldo to like outstrike him like that. I think Cheeto's going to be kicking low and eventually try to like kick high. I don't think he's got a lot to be desired with the boxing. I don't think it'll really get to the grappling. I really just think Cheeto's kind of, he could win this fight if he fought, if he like really went for it. But like I have to go upon the Cheeto I've seen lately and the Zahabi I've seen lately. I think the Zahabi I've seen lately is smart enough and has a good enough game plan to kind of do what he wants to Cheeto and avoid that KO shot. So I'm gonna have to pick that to happen. But Cheeto is live for a KO in this fight, but I do still have to go Zahabi by decision. I'm going to say 29-28 or 30-27. Zahabi does what he does to win. Just kind of touches at Cheeto, outboxes him, grapples if he needs to. And yeah, he probably has a game plan already, in plan for Cheeto. So for sure we'll see what that game plan is on Saturday, and he'll win by doing it, unless he gets fluke KO'd. Yeah.
Good fight here in the bantamweight division. Part of my excitement, I just hit a parlay on this Thursday night football game, and my fantasy team is doing good too, so always good to see that. But back to what's important, MMA, UFC Vancouver. In the bantamweight division, this pains me to say as an Ecuadorian. I like Chito Vera, man, I really do. I think he only loses by decision, that's one. He never really gets finished. He's very durable, and he's got Wolverine scar tissue. Like the O'Malley fight, the Sandhagen fight, a bunch of fights I can recall of where people are landing on his head and he has no scar tissue, no cuts, no nothing. He's made out of what Wolverine's made out of or something. It's insane. But people get this misconception in fights all the time. Just because you didn't get finished doesn't mean you won the fight. The Nate Diaz mentality. Oh yeah, bro. He didn't kill me. I won. We won the fight. You can lose a decision in MMA as well, and that's what happens to Chito Vera more often than not. Against a certain tier of competition, mainly a younger tier of competition, he seems to, for the most part, just be proven throughout a 15 to 25 minute duration of a fight he's not the better fighter. And I love Chito's style. I really do. He's fun. He's a marauder. He goes forward. He's top 5 finishes all time in bantamweight history. All of his limbs are a weapon. Knees, kicks, elbows, punches, you name it. He's got durability. He'll even entertain a little bit of a submission game here and there, but his jiu-jitsu is really not that good. His takedown defense, in my opinion, is a massive weakness in his game that I do think will be exploited in this matchup. It pains me to say, but as you can tell by the direction of my comments, and I am going to go with Aiemann Zahabi in Canada reluctantly on this one. It's really a clash of polarizing styles. It's finisher that is willing to lose minutes of the round to find the one shot to kill the opponent versus consistent minute winning decision guy who is willing to sacrifice overextending and reaching for the stars and going for the finish so that way he can just collectively continue to win minutes of the bout. So you got your finisher who's willing to give up minutes for the win to get the finish versus your minute winner who's willing to give up the finish for the decision win. In Canada, that's obviously a boost for Aiemann Zahabi, as Mike reminded us, the Jose Aldo fight. In a fight where I felt Aldo won the first 2 rounds, clearly lost the 3rd round, but nonetheless I felt like he did enough in the first 2 rounds to get the first 2 rounds. We saw how that went. That wouldn't surprise me if Chito Vera falls prey to those same types of decisions. The durability of Chito has been a little questionable. He hasn't been, knocked out, but I want to say he's been dropped in his at least once in his last 3 fights, mainly the Figueiredo fight. What else? Kicks, I do believe are going to be Chito. The jab, I could see Chito, getting to work with that, but his output isn't great. His power is there, but it's not enough to really sway me to I can't go against that power. He can hit, but it's not one punch, it's over. I do feel Zahabi will get takedowns in this fight. There's no question in my mind the better corner, the better coach is Zahabi's side with his brother. Perillo, he had Bisping, he had Dern. I don't know if these are great examples of me listing them. His boxing's alright.
Bisping is literally the only good name you fucking mentioned.
Right, yeah, literally. So, no question, Zahabi's got the coaching corner down. So, he's got the better coaches. He's in Canada. He is older. And he does fit the description of what Chito Vera finishes. He's got a fetish for finishing old men. He's got a fetish for finishing.
No pause, resume.
No pause, resume. Right. Fucking, if you ain't Frankie Edgar.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know. I just feel like Zahabi is gonna, kind of do what he did in the Aldo fight. But here's the thing for me, why I'm kind of sold on Zahabi. I don't think Chito's got the boxing or the takedown defense that Aldo was able to have. So Aldo, in my mind, won the first 2 rounds, lost the 3rd very clearly, didn't win the fight. I don't know how those first 2 rounds are going to look for Chito. I would imagine out the gate, round 1, that's probably your best opportunity to look for a big shot to sway the judges or potentially finish the fight. But I think Zahabi's got a good jab. He doesn't really fight outside of himself. You consistently know what you're going to get with Aiemann Zahabi to an extent. You're going to get a good game plan. He's going to stay within himself. He's not going to overextend. He's not going to put himself in an exchange that can get wild. If you're Chito, that's all you want to do. You want to pressure. You want to force exchanges. You want to create opportunities where you can go band for band, where he could throw his best punch and you could throw your best punch, and we'll see who's standing after. But I just feel like Zahabi's too smart for that. He's in Canada. We saw how the Aldo fight went. I think it could be very similar. I could see a world where Chito drops Zahabi in the first round. Zahabi gets back up, works on takedowns, probably stays on top for the rest of the round, then so forth throughout the fight. I feel like the takedowns will just be a little bit more easier to get. I really hope Chito Vera proves me wrong, but I'm going to go with an Aiemann Zahabi decision where his jab will be able to set the range, where he'll be able to get entries for the takedowns, he'll get the control time, he'll ride up against the fence, do what he got to do to get the dub. I just don't think Chito's as hungry as he once was. I don't think the durability is it's still there, but it's not what it once was. I feel like back then, 4 years ago, he was a tank. The Davey Grant fight, this dude is walking into Davey Grant range, taking elbows and punches, and there's no cuts or nothing on his face. I don't think we got that same type of marauder. I feel like for some reason Chito's going to try to fight technical in this fight, and it's going to be to his detriment. So I'm going to go with a Zahabi decision win. It could be close, but we're in Canada. It's just hard for me to go against Zahabi in Canada. That's how I feel. Hope I'm wrong, though. Yeah.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
If Cheeto isn't, he better count his days. Vinicius Oliveira.
And big picture in the scenario, what our prediction comes true. You know, you get to say he's on a 7-fight win streak, and he's got the likes of the Basharat brother, Aldo, and Cheeto on the resume, as well as a 15-2 record potentially. So he is old, but he's got a good record. He's on a win streak. Those are good names. We'll just keep it moving. And what I like about it, big picture, we can use that. Don't get it twisted, guys. There will come a day where we'll get to fade Ayman Zahabi. I just don't feel like this is the time yet.
I think it could be. I think it very.
I hope it is, but in the scenario it isn't, down the line we'll get there.
I'll tell you also why. I should have just mentioned it, and I should stop acting like a retard. In the press conference, I actually liked what Cheeto also said. He was pretty much saying what was losing him the fights is he was getting too technical in his fights. Like, I gotta find the clip, but there was a clip that I actually liked, and this was kind of ending up on why I picked Paulo Costa once upon a time, because Paulo Costa even said himself, like, the reason why he didn't look good is because he didn't fight like how he usually fights. But I know Cheeto fights technical most
You hit the
time.
parlay. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
But
You hit it.
I heard
Oh my god.
I heard
Sorry.
I heard no, you're good. I heard yeah. He pretty much just said, like, he needs to fix his whole thing, and I have a feeling he'll fix that shit, and we'll get a knockout here. My bad.
No, you're good. That's actually really good. Like I just said, like, at the end of my prediction, like, I feel like he'll fight technical. He should. If you're Cheeto and you want to win and you want to pick him, don't fuck that. Go watch what Pereira just did to Ankalaev. You need to be that guy. That's who you need to be. I do like that. I didn't know that though. That's something to note for Cheeto for sure. Because he's absolutely right. He should cut that technical shit the fuck out and weaponize his durability and like he used to. So yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go with Ariel Helwani. Remember, guys, Cheeto was in the bathroom stall with Ian Gary.
That's what we meant with the, if you know.
And they're meat measuring Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott. This is a tough fight to call as well. I could see Mike Malott having success, but that Neil Magny fight is like scorched into my brain, being how like bad it was for him. I think like that just kind of shows me like that he can't take adversity, but like Neil Magny has been like outing a lot of retards lately, like a lot of prospects and like older guys who aren't prospects who have been around who are trying to get up the rankings, like Jake Matthews. Retard checking them, you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to get like fraud checked by Neil Magny. It's another thing to get like IQ checked. Like Neil Magny's IQ checking motherfuckers. Like Jake Matthews could have won that fight, but he just pulled guillotines. Like D-Rod could have won that fight too, but he just like kept running in face first into Neil Magny's jabs, broke his nose, then fucking shot a takedown into a Darce like a retard. You know, like he's retard maxing these guys. Like if you're not a retard like Michael Morales, you usually wind up winning. You know, or if you're a protest, you usually wind up winning. I feel like he just out retards these guys. And he proved that like Mike Malott, like I wouldn't call him a retard, but he's a bitch. He's definitely a bitch. And like there's been moments in Kevin Holland's careers where I would have called him a bitch as well. But like in that D-Rod fight, I at least like give him props for like getting knocked down, almost finished, getting back up, and then knocking down D-Rod and almost finishing him, which is something I can't see Mike Malott doing. Mike Malott went down like a dog at the first sign of adversity. I think, you know, Kevin Holland's got a little bit more grit to him, and that makes me want to go Kevin Holland. But I do see a world where if Mike Malott like invests into the leg kicks early and kind of like chops down on Kevin Holland and kind of like gives him like drop foot or just like hurts his lead leg to the ability like he doesn't really have the ability to fight as well, I could see him kind of throwing a hissy fit on the stool and kind of not being the same fighter and kind of like quitting out there. Not to the same degree I would see Mallet quitting, but kind of just like giving up on winning the fight entirely, just trying to make it to a decision. I could see that as well. I do see Mallet as the overall better fighter, actually. But Kevin Holland, I think, is grittier. He's got more experience. It's tough. I think Mike Mallet is the better fighter, and if he mixes in the grappling, he could really dominate this fight. So I think I'm going to wind up picking Mike Mallet. It is a tough fight, but I think he's going to have to learn from his experience. He can't have any adversity moments in this fight, because if he does, I see him breaking. Fuck. Ooh. He probably will have some adversity, though, no? He's going to have to go to that grappling. He's going to have to stay tidy in the boxing, keep him at range of the calf kicks, and do work. I do see Holland tagging him at some point, and I think as Holland gets hurt a little bit more, he gets a little bit more desperate to get to land shots of his own. And that's where he can kind of make a comeback for him. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go Kevin Holland, 3rd round TKO. Holland, Mike Mallet starts chopping down the low kicks, but it doesn't have a super big effect. Outboxing Holland. Holland starts going fuck it. Starts landing shots of his own and finds a way to get a sloppy looking TKO up against the fence. I'll go Kevin Holland, 3rd round TKO.
Ooh. As everybody knows, there's a history between me and Kevin Holland. I know some of y'all might be asking me, Mike, you just saw pick the shit out. Are you going to pick Mike Malott here to finish him, to finish the job what D-Rod couldn't? First things first. No, I'm not picking Mike Malott here. I don't think he's going to finish Kevin Holland. I was talking to Alex about this today while I was out. I said, I can't, as much as I don't like the dude, I will give him props. He puts on scraps. And if this becomes a scrap, I don't feel like Mike Malott is man enough to make this a scrappy fight. If Holland can make this scrappy, I think Mike Malott is going to be cooked. Not just cooked, like stir fried. I mean full on Canadian poutine. I think he's, I don't know. I just don't trust Mike Malott. I don't trust him at all. What was his name? Radke. Radke was having success on the boxing exchange. I know Kevin Holland's not a good boxer. I really know that. I do know that. I know he's shit. I know he's this. I know he's that. I know on paper, Mike Malott should win on Canada. But if he doesn't crack Kevin Holland or cook Kevin Holland to a point where Kevin has to find a way to quit, I could see Kevin Holland catching him. And I still think I know there's bitch made in Mike Malott in that fight. So I think it's going to go down to who's going to quit first. And I think Kevin Holland, as I like the man or not, I don't think he's going to quit that easy. If he does, fucking hell. Not only I get my dreams come true that he gets cooked again, but I've just seen his ass get cooked a lot, so I don't really care about what happens. That's also why I'm picking Kevin. I think this is going to be a fight regardless, a good fight, fun fight. I think there's a reason why this is the co-main for a reason. I think Kevin Holland's good. I could just so see an Instagram post, the same Instagram post that he had for the Neil Magny fight where he just started crying like a little bitch because he just sold the bag when he was up 2 rounds. I did not forgive him ever since. And everybody in the comments was like, oh, you'll be back, brother. I feel bad for you. Oh, I feel bad for Mike Malott. Fuck Mike Malott. Fuck him. He's going to get cooked in his home country again. And Kevin Holland's going to find the chin there. And I think he is going to knock him out with a straight. The signature Kevin Holland straight in round 2. I could see him even subbing him too. Hot. I might be reaching on there, but I could see him sub Mike Malott for some reason. But yeah, I got Kevin Holland. If Kevin Holland does lose, this will be the last time I will pick him. But I don't think he's fully shit enough to lose to Mike Malott here.
Co-main event of the evening in Vancouver, Canada. You have the Trailblazer Kevin Holland, one of the most active fighters in the UFC, versus the Canadian welterweight Mike Malott. Don't really know if he has a nickname. I just didn't remember it. Coming off the Charles Radtke knockout, impressive. I did not think he was going to knock out Radtke, so in that regard, impressive. But I do feel as though Radtke kind of charged in aimlessly and paid the price for it. That is what it is. It's the fighting at the end of the day. For what it's worth, Malott, shit the bed in the Magny fight, as we all remember. But he was winning the fight, and then he just kind of gassed himself out in the third round and found himself on bottom. And Neil Magny in that third round, man, something about it. As we seen a couple weeks ago against Jake Matthews, Neil Magny's gas tank is legit. I guess if he's not out of the fight, he's still in the fight to some extent. But Malott, a lot of finishes on his record. He does go for it. Kevin Holland, I do consider pretty durable, specifically in his chin. He has been knocked out on his career before, but it's been off of like an arm injury in the Wonder Boy fight, like a headbutt in the Dawkins fight. We haven't really seen Kevin Holland out cold, really, ever. We have seen him sub multiple times, though. As we know, grappling is a problem in his game. It's a tough fight, man, because I do feel as though Kevin Holland is the more dynamic athlete in this one. He's taller, he's longer. I think punch for punch, he hits harder. He's a submission threat as well. He's the more dynamic fighter, I feel as though, in this one. But Malott does go for it. I think his kicks are okay. His boxing, I do not rate. His boxing defense, I don't rate. He just kind of moves out the way. He kind of relies on his footwork a lot. From a striking standpoint, I would give the advantage to Kevin Holland, I imagine. I understand he is coming off of that bad performance against D-Rod, where he was a massive favorite in that fight. Parlay buster for sure. I know a lot of people had Kevin Holland and they thought that was a lock, but D-Rod's boxing showed up in that fight, I guess. We're in Canada. I'm a bit of a broken record with this one. I mean, you are fooling yourself if you do not believe that venues have a form of play in the outcome of all fights. Especially when the fighter hailing from that region of the venue where the fight, the event is held. You're foolish if you don't think that has any play whatsoever, any weight whatsoever. In the scenario, it's a decision. Mike Malott's got a better record. Kevin Holland, I mean, if he loses this fight, do we think any differently of him? No. If we win this fight, do we really rate Kevin Holland if he wins against Mike Malott? No. He kind of just stays the same, win or lose. So I'm going to go with the fighter who I think has something to lose, per se. If Mike Malott were to lose to Kevin Holland, I feel as though, they already don't take him seriously because of the Neil Magny fight. But if he were to lose to Kevin Holland, he'd be like, okay, you're just a bum that Kevin Holland beats up on. Got it. That kind of ends that. I do not believe Mike Malott is this elite fighter. I do not believe that he's going to, be this top 5 guy or anything. But I do believe his stake and claim, his story, his record, at least from a paper glance, is something we could build. Something we could use to build someone else up in the future. Kevin Holland, we kind of know what he is up to this point. We've seen him in 2 different weight classes. We've seen him lose via decision. We've seen him lose via TKO. We've seen him lose by submission. We kind of know what we're getting. I do think he is more dynamic, and there's arguably equivalent, if not greater, finishing upside for Kevin Holland in this one. But I'm gonna go with Mike Malott. I'm torn between a submission and a decision. I'll go with Mike Malott. I was about to say Kevin Holland. I'm going to go with a Mike Malott. I want to go sub, but I'll go decision. I feel like he'll be fighting for submission attempts, but Holland will be smart enough to not tap, and he'll just kind of be on top and just wasting time. So I'm going to go with, it'll be similar to the Gunnar Nelson fight. I feel like in the first round, Kevin Holland might even hurt Mike Malott to the extent that he hurt Gunnar Nelson. But similar to the Gunnar Nelson fight, Gunnar proceeded to win the next 2 rounds, arguably. I feel like it'll be that type of a close fight where the grappling is able to kind of outweigh the danger of Kevin Holland on the feet. And this time, though, Mike Malott will get his hand raised because we are in Canada. So I'm going to go with a Mike Malott decision win, where his grappling is more valuable than the damage that Kevin Holland landed on the feet. I'm going to go with a Mike Malott decision win. Very close. But I think his grappling will look good in the fight, I guess. I don't hate it if you pick Holland, though. He is the more dynamic fighter, in my opinion, in this one.
Moving on. Our main event of the evening, Brendan Allen versus Rainier DeRitter. It's a good fight. Should have been Fluffy versus DeRitter, which would have been a better fight, but I still think this is a good fight. I'm picking Rainier DeRitter. I think most people probably are. Brendan Allen isn't completely out of this fight. I do see him as the more technical striker still, but to be honest, I don't think it matters a whole lot. I think DeRitter is still good enough on the feet, and he doesn't really strike. Occasionally, he kind of wants you to go forward, and then he'll bring up the knee and hit you in the stomach. He likes fighting in the clinch a lot. I do see him as the more dominant, better grappler out of the two here as well. I've seen Brendan Allen out-grappled a couple times now. I saw Baralho do it to him in a grappling match. I saw Fluffy do it to him. I saw Imavov do it to him in moments. I don't see Brendan Allen as that great of a grappler compared to some of these other grapplers. And I think DeRitter is going to do him similar as to those guys I just mentioned. He's going to be bigger. He's going to be technically better on the ground. I don't know if either man will be able to submit the other, but if anybody submits anybody, I think it'll be DeRitter submitting Allen. I do think pound for pound, like, I think, what's his name, DeRitter hits harder. On top, I see DeRitter being more active, more gritty. Whereas I see Allen just kind of trying to hold the position and maybe look for a submission, which I don't think he'll get. I think Rainier DeRitter is like that. I think he's gritty. He's really, really, really good in the clinch. I think that's where he can really make an emphasis in this fight and change the fight towards a domination for him rather than a close fight between the two of them. I think that knee to the stomach is a huge weapon for him, and that's something I don't think Brendan Allen will really have an answer for. I think Brendan Allen's best weapon to kind of counteract that would be the body kick on the feet, and I don't think that's the greatest for him because I think he risks getting takedowned and getting the kick caught. See him, like I said, being more technical on the feet, so I do see him hitting DeRitter a fair amount with the hands and maybe some of the kicks, but like you should not be making a super close fight with Marvin Vettori at this point. Like Marvin Vettori is not good, and he really only has like 2 punches in his arsenal. You should have been able to kind of do more against him, I feel like. Brendan Allen just strikes me as kind of a retard. He's a guy that doesn't make good IQ moves, whereas I think DeRitter will take advantage of that. And, you know, he'll get the top position, whereas Brendan Allen does something stupid and gives it up. And I think that, that in itself makes it hard to pick Brendan Allen in tough fights like this. But I think just the momentum that DeRitter's had, expecting to fight somebody as dominant, as cardio-driven as Fluffy, I do think DeRitter's definitely ready for this 5 rounds. He's a big guy. I'm sure he has a big weight cut, but I've never seen it really impact his cardio or impact him like that. So I got to keep going with what I've been seeing. I'm going to go DeRitter. I was originally going to go by decision, but I kind of want to feel like he's going to TKO Allen now. I could see him just raining down elbows on top. But I think it'll be competitive for the first couple of rounds. But I see DeRitter taking over, just being the bigger guy and making Allen carry his weight in the clinch on top. And then maybe he can see a ground and pound finish later on in the fight. But I do think it'll be hard to get a submission, and it'll be hard to get off anything on the ground for either man until later in the fight, until one of them's more worn down. And I see that being Brendan Allen, carrying the weight of Brendan Allen, or carrying the weight of DeRitter throughout the fight. I'm going to say the knees to the body, start getting Allen. He starts hitting him into the face in the clinch. We get kind of like a red-faced, bloodied Allen in the 4th and 5th. And at some point, he's on top, just raining elbows on top, and he gets the ground and pound TKO. I'm going to say Rainier DeRitter, 4th or 5th round, late rounds, ground and pound, elbows, TKO.
Main event. If you ask me personally, do I like this main event? Not really. Would I have preferred the Anthony Hernandez fight? Absolutely. If the fight was going to happen, I was going to pick against Rainier. I feel like in order to beat Rainier, you have to have that style that Fluffy has, where he's nitty gritty, he pressures, and you have to overwhelm him. I don't see that in Brendan Allen. There's something soy about Brendan Allen, and he's been talking a lot of shit in the press conference recently that doesn't make me feel confident in picking him. It feels like a type of video. The shit that he's been saying in the media is the type of shit that I could see somebody putting in a TikTok edit when he gets finished. And I think the TikTok virgins will be happy about this one. I think he's going to get choked out by RDR. I know Brendan, it's hard to finish Brendan Allen via sub, but I can so see RDR do it. RDR is very good on the ground, man. And I know Brendan is too, but I've seen him get manhandled before on the ground by Fluffy and certain other people. I know Fluffy is good, but I think RDR is better on the ground, and I think the ground game is going to be Fluffy's. Trevin Giles subbed Brendan Allen in the regional, in the regional scenes. I know that was a long time ago, but you know, old habits do die hard from time to time, and I could see RDR doing some masterclass here. I'm going to go with an RDR rear naked choke here. I think he's going to find the back. I think it's not going to look pretty. And I think RDR is going to choke out Brendan Allen in the second or third. I could see the ground pound TKO from Alex. I could see a decision. I might even switch my pick to a decision next day around, my bad. Can't speak today, but I think I'm confident in this RDR finishing route. Like I said, I feel like Brendan Allen is getting too carried away. He's been talking like he's that guy. He's been talking like he's Timothy, and I think, like I said, he's talking to a point where I could just so see a TikTok edit where he gets choked out after all the shit he says. And like I said, I think RDR is going to feed the TikTok virgins on this one, where he subs Brendan Allen badly in this fight. I'm going to go second or third. I'm going to go third. I think he's going to overwhelm Brendan, and I could see it. Ooh, I might actually switch my pick here, because I could see the knees to the body hurt, making Brendan quit too. No, I'm gonna stick with sub. I wanna let my nuts hang on this one. But yeah, I think he is gonna fuck up Brendan.
Main event of the evening in Vancouver, the place where Brendan Allen ethnically claims Canada, as he has this week. We are in the middleweight division. This was supposed to be potential number one contender fight, or a title eliminator bout with Anthony Fluffy Hernandez and Rainier the Dutch Knight de Ridder. But Anthony Hernandez had to pull out because of an injury. It's understandable. And, you know, as a fan of both of them, I actually it sucks, because that would have been a fantastic fight. I really do think so. It would have been definitely entertaining. But as a fan of both of them, I actually am kind of happy that fight didn't happen. So now there's two chances of at least challenging Hamzat in the division, versus only potentially on having one, because one of them would have had to have been eliminated. Rainier de Ridder is my favorite 1FC athlete of all time. I remember watching him in like 2020, and you know, I obviously the level of competition wasn't crazy at 1FC compared to the UFC level, of course, but the guys he was fighting weren't small dudes at middleweight and light heavyweight. This was a former double champion at 1FC. Ever since he's made the move to the UFC after losing twice to Anatoly Malkin in 1FC, he's won every single UFC fight he's had, and he's only had one decision with the likes of a former champion and Robert Whittaker, and that was a very close fight. And that was a fight that you take a lot from that. You learn what it's like to go the full championship rounds with a former champion, where you're able to have success, go through adversity, have multiple momentum swings throughout the fight. Those type of fights build character, and they build experience in high pressure stakes and high pressure situations. Aside from that, though, everybody else he's fought, he's finished. He finished Kevin Holland. he finished GM3 by submission, which I do rate, because GM3 is like top 5 submissions in middleweight history, and he was able to TKO and derail the hype train of Bo Nickel. Like, these are they don't sound impressive, but for the middleweight division, these are good wins. GM3 is a great grappler. Bo Nickel was a phenom, undefeated. Kevin Holland, say what you want. He's an active guy who's a dangerous style and takes fights like with anybody. Like, he'll fight, for the most part, he'll fight anybody. And then he beat Robert Whittaker. I do not believe Brendan Allen would beat Robert Whittaker. But Brendan Allen in his own right, well experienced, 30 plus pro fights, former LFA champion, contender in the middleweight division. He's only been finished 3 times. He's been rear naked choked by Trevin Giles, and he's been TKO'd by Chris Curtis and Sean Strickland. On paper, Brendan Allen is the more technical striker, and he can match the frame of RDR, so to speak. RDR won't have so much of a physical advantage as he has against previous opponents. Brendan Allen's not a small middleweight. For those who don't know, they actually both train at the same gym in Killcliff. RDR does stuff in Netherlands, but when he's in America, he's in Florida, and he trains at Killcliff in Deerfield with Brendan Allen. So this main event is for the best middleweight at Killcliff as well. Both these guys know each other. There's a familiarity. They train together. But I do believe RDR is better in the grappling, better in the clinch, better takedowns. I think he's the better overall grappler in every facet of MMA. I think he's more effective in the clinch as well, with the elbows and the knees. Brendan Allen is the cleaner striker, and he did look good in his last fight against Marvin Vettori, who is very durable. But I do think DeRitter, he's only lost to one guy twice in his career, and that dude is like a walking pharmacy, as Mike would tell you. Anatoly Malkin, he's a tank. He's a monster. He's a fucking former triple champion in 1FC. I know 1FC ain't UFC, but dude, like, that's impressive. That's a fucking middleweight, light heavyweight champion. And he beat DeRitter twice in title fights to do such a thing. So, and I know how good DeRitter is. This is a good fight, but I am going to go with Renier DeRitter in this one. I think I could see Brendan Allen looking clean in the striking, landing, but his power is not enough to earn respect from Renier DeRitter. I think, he's got a good chin. I think his durability is good. We just saw that he can push a hard pace for 5 rounds against Robert Whittaker. I could see some more resistance in the grappling, potentially with Brendan Allen, having being the bigger guy than the likes of like a Robert Whittaker, but Robert Whittaker's takedown defense is world class. I don't know if Brendan Allen's going to be able to stuff the takedowns of Renier DeRitter, and even if he does do such a thing, he's pressed up against the fence in the clinch where Renier DeRitter really want to be. He want to get those knees to the body. He want to get those bows up top. He's trying to fuck you up. He's not just like that's the thing that people don't understand with Renier DeRitter. He's not trying to like knock you out like necessarily with a technical strike. He's just trying to beat you up, like up in that clinch. Like if you saw the Bo Nickel fight, like the knees are debilitating. His intercepting knee, like that shit is disgusting. Like the damage he does with that, it doesn't look from the casual viewer, like the eye of the TV, it doesn't look like he's doing much. I'm telling you, bro, that hurts. And like you're taxing the gas tank of the opponent as well as hurting them at the same time. It's like doing 2 things at once. I'm torn because I think Renier DeRitter can win this fight all 3 methods. I could see him winning a 5-round decision. I could see him getting a ground and pound TKO like Alex said, and I could see the submission like Mike said. It's tough. I do think he wins. I think he wins all 3 ways. Brendan Allen's been TKO'd by Sean Strickland and Chris Curtis. I don't think Renier DeRitter's as good as the boxing as they were. They were able to land big shots up top to the head of Brendan Allen. But I do think the knees to the body will be something new for Brendan Allen that he hasn't experienced, really. Like, anyone with that level of, like, just real damage to the body. I'll go with Alex on this one. I feel like Renier wants to make a statement. But I could also see Mike. I could see a club and sub. I could see him hurting him to the body and then, like, taking the back and then, like, jumping on top for, like, a fucking rear naked choke. I could so see that, too. But, man, it's tough. This is tough. I do think Renier's a better grappler. Both have only been knocked out really twice. Tough. No question, I'm going Ranier. It's just like, how do I pick him? I'm gonna say a finish. I don't think Brendan Allen's as skilled as Robert Whittaker. I don't think his footwork, his takedown defense is as good as Robert Whittaker. His elusiveness, I don't think he has these things like Robert Whittaker does. And Robert Whittaker arguably could have won the fight. But I think if Robert Whittaker fought Brendan Allen, like, he would just like look like he would just masterclass him. I feel like he would just beat him up with a jab and be in and out. But as for this fight, let me stop yapping. I'm going with the finish. I'm going Ranier de Ritter. Mike said 3rd round sub. Alex said 4th or 5th TKO. Man, this is tough. He TKO'd Bode. He subbed GM3. He subbed Holland. I'll go sub. I'm going to go sub. I think he's going to hurt him to the body and then do exactly what I said. I think he's going to, like, just push him up against the fence. The knees are going to be just disgusting. Not to the point where, like, he'll keel over, but, like, there'll be a moment where, like, Brendan Allen's defense is just not there, and then, like, RDR, instead of just pounding with the knees, he'll, like, take his back, drag him down, and then try to rear naked choke, like Mike said. Yeah, I'll go with Mike. Fuck it. I'll go 3rd round submission in the fashion I just said. I just think that Brendan Allen is the better striker, but he is hittable as well. His gas tank isn't crazy. I don't think he can do what he wants in the grappling. I feel like any grappling exchange whatsoever is going to be in favor of Ranier. So I'll go with a 3rd round submission for Ranier de Ritter, where he'll hurt him to the body and then take the back and go for a choke. Good fight. Good fight. Go to 3rd round sub.
All right, and that will conclude our predictions for UFC Vancouver, de Ritter versus Brendan Allen. Any predictions for fight of the night or performance of the night before we close it out? Fight of the night, I'll say either Mallet Allen or Dober Prepelec. One of the two. Fight of the night.
Either Holland.
I can see that. I have two decisions. Or I have 2 decisions in those, so I could definitely see that happening. But I say both go distance.
I think it's either going to be Holland Mallet or fucking Jourdain and
Davey Grant.
Davey Grant.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
I'll go Prepelec. I'll go Prepelec and Dober. I think that should be a banger. Especially if Dober doesn't wrestle. Dober don't wrestle, that's a banger. That's that's an instant banger on that card for sure.
Performance of the night, I think, will just go to whoever gets finishes. If de Ritter gets a finish, he'll get one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with the co-main event. Whoever gets if anybody gets a finish in the co-main. But yeah, that'll conclude our predictions, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. Peace.